Argentina is so warm. And like, I'm just being real with y'all. I'm Caribbean and it reminds me of Caribbean people, but it is so warm. It is so beautiful to live there. The culture, the people, the food, the kisses on the cheeks, interactions. It's something that you're gonna feel that's incredibly personal and emotional and sentimental. It's gonna be like a magnet that pulls you in, right? It has definitely been one of my favorite places to live outside of the US. It's the first place I actually lived outside of the US as well too, and it's a pretty affordable lifestyle. You're really gonna enjoy it. So, but like anywhere that you go to, you need to know how to navigate when you get there. You need to understand what's gonna make your life the most seamless. You get what I'm saying? Beautiful, but it has its own rules, its own systems, and some of those things is gonna be a big difference for you in comparison to the US. So I want to point out and highlight that here so you can have that going in to when you actually travel over there. So let me walk you through some of the biggest things that you need to know. We're going to touch on, from money, from visa and immigration, from apps, from safety as well too. I'm going to talk about a little bit how to earn money while you could possibly be living out there, you know what I'm saying? Because you need to be able to have that ability to support yourself. You get what I'm saying? All of this is going to be covered in this video so that you could travel with confidence. Let's talk about immigration. So as the only thing you really need to travel, or there are a couple of things that you need to travel from the US to Argentina, and you're definitely gonna need your passport, right? And when you go to immigration, they're gonna have 3 questions for you as a US citizen, and you just want to make sure you're able to answer them. So one of the questions is going to be how long you are staying. As a US citizen, especially when you come in as like a tourist, you are able to stay up to like 3 months, and then you have to return. So you could say you're staying for like, I'll be staying here, for a month, quedo por un mes, voy a vivir acá por un mes, and then secondly, they're gonna say, why are you here? You could say it's to study the language. You could say it's to explore Argentina. Quiero estudiar idioma para mejorar mi español. It could be something like that. You want to study the language, or you want to explore the beautiful nature that is definitely everywhere around Argentina. The third question is, where will you be living, right? And you don't want to just have this memorized on your head. You also want to have this written down. Let's say you couldn't memorize it. You at least want to have it written down so that you can hand that to the lady or the man that's in the office or in their little box, and they can read where you will be staying. Okay, I have an example down below here that you should see, either up here or down here, that you'll be able to see of what an address would look like. But if you book a hotel, right, before you come to Argentina, you need to have the place that you plan to stay at. So you could book a hotel and cancel it, after, or whatever you want to do. Just make sure you get the address of that hotel or wherever you're going to be at. You put it down and you present that to the lady or man who's at the immigration's office. Now let's dive deeper into the visa rules, because sometimes this can trip up people. As a US citizen, you could stay in Argentina for up to 90 days, right? If you overstay, right, what you can do, I know people who have overstayed by like 2 years. They had to pay a fee before returning back to the US. Like, they get to the airport and they pay a fee basically to immigrations for them overstaying. It could be anywhere from like $100 and $200. However, let's say you're on your 20th day or you're on your 85th day, and you're like, you know what, I want to extend my stay the right way. Then you can basically go to the immigration office. You're gonna need your passport. They're gonna ask you a couple of questions, this and that, and you can extend your stay for another 90 days. All right, so I actually did that in San Miguel de Tucumán, where I was able to extend my stay for another 90 days. I was like on my 84th or 85th day. We did it on a Friday right before the weekend. Had I waited to Monday, I would have been right at the cutoff point. So, and then what they're gonna do is they're gonna give you paperwork back that you take with you, that you present to the immigration office when you're returning back to the US. They'll look at it, check it, make sure everything is good, then boom, on your way. Hey, another way that you can extend your stay is you could travel, take an hour flight to like Bolivia, or go to Peru, go to a near country that's nearby, literally for like a day, come back to Argentina, and boom, now your whole stay resets again, and we off to the races. We have to talk about why cash is king in Argentina. And being in the US, I think a lot of areas we get fairly familiar with using credit cards all the time, or we're using Apple Pay, we're using things on our phone where we just tap our phone. Let me tell you, if you're living in like the northern part of Argentina, let's say you're living in Salta or you're living in San Miguel de Tucumán, you ain't gonna be just tapping on a lot of things banks as a foreigner, right? Cash is going to be king. In fact, with a lot of let's say you want to take an Uber, my credit card from America, the US, does not actually work with Uber. Like, I can connect it and it will pretend like it will work, but the payment actually won't go through because my card is from the US and it's not from Argentina. So to actually pay for the ride that you just got, you would actually need pesos or cash to give to the driver. Most drivers also don't like when, you know, when individuals use a credit card to pay through the app, because apparently there's a delay in terms of when they get paid. They prefer to be paid right away with cash on hand. A lot of hotels don't accept credit cards. Like, they'll allow you to book and reserve the room, but when you get there, you actually have to pay with cash with a lot of these hotels. I'm giving y'all some free game here. This happened to me multiple times, like in Azaz, Salta, Tucumán. So I'm just giving y'all that so y'all know that and you don't get caught off guard. You got to keep some cash on hand, because I promise you, every situation, cash is going to work, but not every situation a credit or debit card will work. And another tip I'm about to give to you, they often increase the fees of what you're buying when you purchase it with a credit card or a debit card. Like, and it sometimes will increase it by 10%. Like, they be tacking on. So it's in your best interest. You can get the best deal. People like it more if you're paying with pesos or cash in comparison to using a credit card. If you are in the US, I recommend for you to, Bank of America actually will give you like $100 new crisp bills. Go take out like however much you feel you need and just exchange that once you get over to Argentina, because with the currency, or like how it, you know, converts over, you're gonna get a lot for that $100 bill. Sometimes it's almost like 1.45. The currency is always changing over there in terms of what the rate is, and I have an app that's going to show you how that changes as well too. But I'm just kind of telling y'all, bring some $100 bill with you that you could easily exchange over, you know, to pesos. You're gonna get a whole bunch of money, keep it in your pocket, keep it in your bag, your satchel, whatever it is, and hey, then you off. They prefer the $100 new bills, nice and crispy, because they're big fans of it, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm gonna recommend to you as well too. Now, there's a couple of ways you could talk about transferring money, and this is gonna definitely, I'm gonna start with Remitly first, right? Because you need to have a way to be able to send yourself money in the country. And if you have like a loved one, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a family member, someone who you deeply trust, where you know they're from Argentina and you could send them money and they could bring that to you, then this is where Remitly is going to be your best friend. Remitly is by far the best transfer app. If you are a US citizen and you're traveling to Argentina, I'm telling you right now, the best transfer app that you could possibly use is Remitly. You could transfer money from your account to theirs in literally in less than a minute. It only costs $4.99, right? And then you're going to get a pretty good rate that's comparable to the blue rate of the country as well. So it's definitely my go-to OG, right? You have someone here, you just transfer it over to them, boom, you're rocking and rolling. I got my girlfriend, I transferred to her, she bring me the money, I'm like, oh, boom, we moving. No problems. I've never had any issues. I've probably used it for almost a year now. A year, okay? Never had an issue once. You could track all your transactions in history. You can see the rate that it's exchanging your money for. So it's definitely something I'm gonna recommend you. I gave this advice to a woman who, has a store, and her husband actually works out of the US, and they were using Western Union previously, right? And I told them, no, use Remitly. And they were using Western Union, and I told them, hey, use Remitly. I showed her how to do it. I helped her download it, and now they're like, oh my God, we're saving so much money, because also Western Union was taking a bigger percentage of the transaction in comparison to Remitly, right? So, which one would you rather prefer? Wait 45 days and lose more of your money, or would you rather take the option that does it in less than a minute and you can do it as many times as you want and you just do it from your phone and it's super easy, right? All right, so I wanted to go deeper into that topic because that's going to be a big impact on your experience, is your ability to get money out of the bank and be able to support what you're doing. If you didn't have anyone that you knew and was trustworthy and this and that, or that you were close with, right? At that case, you could use the Western Union method of downloading Western Union, sending money to the Western Union, and going physically to pick it up. If you're going to do that, you need to get to the Western Union early. Like if they open up at 9 a.m., you need to be there at 9 a.m. Those lines at Western Union can get pretty long. I'm gonna just tell y'all right now, I've seen it personally, and you could be waiting there forever. And if they run out of cash, then you're out of luck. So if you are going to use the Western Union, method, go ahead and download the app before you leave the country. Go ahead, put all your information in. You send money to yourself, and then you go to pick it up as pesos from the local Western Union, and boom, that's another way for you to have cash as well too. Just multiple ways. I'm gonna give you guys multiple, methods that you could utilize and make your life easier. Argentina is relatively affordable. It's not expensive in any way, shape, or form. It's like the US 15 years ago, bro, in some ways. And one of the things is, even though it's affordable, how are you going to support yourself? That's a big question that you have to tackle. And one of the ways that I'm going to advise you is you have to start looking for remote jobs. You have to look for the jobs that they're not caring about where you are in the world. You just need to know if you have an internet connection, and sometimes if you have a headset. Like you got one of them, you got two of them things, you in the green, right? So jobs like that are going to be the customer service jobs. They're going to be the translator jobs, right? They're going to be a customer success manager. That's a hugely remote job where you don't need to be in person at all, right? You're assisting people's needs. You could do that from a distance. So a lot of them customer service roles, a lot of sales roles is also could be very remote as well too, depending on what you're doing. If the entire catalog of what that company is selling is online, you don't need to be in that specific country. Now, of course, you're going to have to check with that company to see if there are border restrictions. If your address is going to be stationary in the US, but you'll be living overseas, you could check that with them to see if that matters. I'm also going to tell you this: if a company is never having you fly into their HQ and you never have to check in with them, you could potentially have that remote job, do what you do, and never need to mention that to your job in the first place. Because if you're never going there physically, why are you telling them? Not everybody needs to know every single detail. So I'm just putting that out there, and this is something that I have done. I keep what I need to keep private unto myself, and if there's a reason to tell them, something more, I shall. But if there's not, I ain't saying nothing. All right. Here's another thing that's going to drastically impact your ability to get a remote job, and it's just going to overall help you. Speak Spanish. If you speak English, go ahead and learn Spanish. I promise you, the amount of opportunities that you're going to have in the job workforce, especially in remote jobs, when it's already so competitive in that landscape, is going to skyrocket when you have the ability to speak in both English and Spanish. If you live in North Argentina, let's say you lived in San Miguel de Tucumán, I probably have lived there for like a year now, right? And I've met only 3 people who knew English, okay? I'm just keeping it real with y'all. So if you're going to go live in a lot of parts of Argentina, unless you're living in Buenos Aires or Cordoba or something that maybe they might have a little bit more English speakers, you would need Spanish anyways. So that's another piece of advice I'm going to give you. Become bilingual, because it's just going to shoot up the amount of opportunities that you have to help you get to living abroad for a longer extended amount of time. Now, if you're just visiting, okay, vacation, using vacation days, this doesn't apply to you. But if you're trying to live in another country, become bilingual, look for the remote jobs, and do what you do. Let's talk about some must-have apps that you need in Argentina, okay? Let's start. I already told you about Remitly. That's going to be your app for sending money. It's going to be my first choice, and it's the thing I'm going to recommend to everybody. If you're married, if your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever it is, you got to have Remitly. It's so easy to connect the accounts. So I already touched on that. Let's move on to the next one. Let's say you want to order food in Argentina. You're going to be using Pedido Ya, okay? This is basically the Argentinian version of DoorDash. Most of them are going to be delivering the foods on scooters. They'll call you up and everything like that. The rates are pretty good on Pedido Ya as well too. Delivery fees are definitely not high, so make sure you tip your driver as well too. That's how they make their money. But that's the app I'm going to recommend to you for picking up. Now in Argentina, you have Uber, you have Didi, and you have taxis as well too. Uber, again, be careful, because if you're in northern Argentina, your American credit card may not work. This is the reason why you may want to have some cash on you as well. Didi is basically like Uber, but often it's cheaper, but I don't see see that the drivers appear as frequently, and I do believe that you would have to have an Argentina ID to even create that account in the first place. So with Uber, you can create your account with your just American credentials, but you just have pesos to pay the driver. Didi is a little bit of a different story, right? Taxis, boom, you just need cash. That's how that works. You wave your hand out in the street, they come, they pick you up, you tell them where you're going, you give them cash once you get to your destination, and you keep flowing. For travel, you know, you're trying to book new places. There, I'm gonna give you hotels.com, all right? And then also Airbnb. Those two are gonna give you a pretty good balance of the prices, los precios, okay? ¿Cuánto sale? ¿Cuánto cuestan estas lugares, right? How much do these places even cost? That'll give you a good lay of the land. You could also check Facebook Marketplace. You put in the zip code of where you're going or the address, you check Facebook Marketplace. That could also give you some different options, potentially if you're trying to stay for a longer period of time, but you would need to prove that you make a certain amount of money, or maybe if you find some underhand table type, you know, deals, maybe that could work for you. But these are different options that can help you to find different places where you can stay at. Hello Talk. Hello Talk is going to help you get acquainted with the community. So the reason I say Hello Talk is because you're going to find a huge amount of speakers. Now, if you pay for it's free, and you can find people for free. Let's say you pay for a subscription, you can zone in Argentina and zone into the specific, you know, city, find other people who could potentially be learning English, and you could connect with those parties and find a lot of just friendship, companionship, or whatever else that you may be looking for, you know, in those ways, so you can connect up and have people to go out within the community as well too. So Hello Talk is really good for learning languages, but also good for just finding friendships out there in different countries that you could be visiting, where they could help guide you, especially if they have time to come out and meet you. They could help guide you in a city and just show you how to have a great experience. And let's talk about one of the biggest important things, actually having internet or on the go on your phone. I would advise you to have a phone that could take a physical SIM card, but you got two options here. You could use Sally. Sally is an application where you can get data that will allow you to have basically access to Wi-Fi, right? It can use an electronic SIM where you don't need a physical SIM card. It's pretty seamless and portable. LocalMe is another option where they'll give you an actual hotspot device where you can buy packages online and you can have this data that you could use in different countries, right? Now, if you were actually going to be staying in a country for an extended amount of time, right? Let's say a month, 2 months. At that point, I would tell you probably go with Claro, right? Or Movistar. Claro, Movistar are some of the biggest internet providers in Argentina. I'm just telling y'all what it is, right? And the reason I would say that is because let's say you go to somewhere like Tafí de Valle. Sally has a harder time working in Tafí de Valle in comparison with like Claro or Movistar, right? Their connection and their amount of Wi-Fi attendance is just much stronger, you know, that Claro has. So you could put that physical card, you know, into your Android device, or, you know, any phone that takes a physical SIM card, and you just have a more steady internet, you know, steady data plan supplying your phone, so you make sure you're good in all of those cases. I am dropping these tips, man. I'm making sure that y'all feel with everything that you know, because these are the stuff that could just throw your whole trip out for a loop. And then let's say you want to take buses instead of flights. This is where I'm going to recommend you Flixbus or BusBud, two popular buses, you know, bus systems that are in South America. They're usually going to be much cheaper to flights, but I don't know, if you check Aerolíneas Argentinas, they often have really good, you know, deals on flights. They'd be like $54 for a one-way trip. So check both options, you know, for what you could be traveling with. I think both will do you really good. Is Argentina even safe? Is your life in danger? Hey man, look, if you don't go looking for trouble, usually trouble doesn't find you. Use your common sense, and this applies to everywhere that you go in life. Area looks rough, it probably is rough. I would say is if you could speak Spanish, use Spanish and don't use the English in some areas, because often people will identify you by how you're speaking and what language you're actually using. You look like a much more valuable target if you speak English in comparison to if you're just speaking Spanish, all right? If you're dressing super flashy and you're drawing a lot of attention, honestly, the areas that I lived in, you know, in Argentina, they're not flashy, okay? They don't wear a lot of jewelry, a lot of this and that. If you coming in putting on the jewelry, all this stuff, you're drawing attention, and people are willing to crash out over that and put your life in danger to take that, because that could pay their rent or pay their what they need for the next couple of months. So just keep that in perspective. Don't go out looking like $1 million. Trust me, it's not necessary. Don't do it. Don't bring that energy to yourself. I'm letting you know straight up, okay? It just ain't worth it. Woo! Ooh, so I have given you guys a guide, an inside view on what it's like to live in Argentina, giving you some tips, some things that's really gonna make your life so much more enjoyable, whether you're visiting or whether you're, planning to live there as well too. Remember, I've got a free guide, so go down in this description below, download it, keep it with you, save this video, share it with other people that could be traveling to Argentina so that they can have this to make their life easier as well too. I make music, I'm a content creator. Check out my IG, I got a lot of videos showing really personable experiences in Argentina. Check out my music as well too. I am making music actually with a lot of Argentinian artists. So subscribe, hit that subscribe button for more. I'm gonna be showing more stuff from Argentina and just life in general as I travel. And if you learned something valuable, let me know. Till next time, ciao ciao. Nos vemos.